So I want to talk about whether a PhD career is actually easy. And I want you to sort of think about things before you get the degree and sort of go in the particular career. And I want you just to really think about this as you're going through it. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massack. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So I don't want to get too deep into the actual degree and the effort and all that kind of stuff, but I want you to think about what is going on in terms of you deciding whether this is easy or not. So what you end up having is that the top people in your high school go into the top undergraduate programs. And then those people that are the top in the undergraduate programs go into perhaps a master's program. Most of the time that's going to happen. Those top students that are dedicated will go into a PhD. And so what does that mean when that happens, right? That they have all of that going on. That means that the same stuff that you saw in high school between all of the top people in high school, they are carrying on and it becomes the absolute top of the top. And they're all competing with each other. That is what's going on. And everybody gets to see what they're doing and everybody gets to understand all the nitty-gritty. So I want you to think about whether you think that's easy or not, and whether you think that's going to result in an easy outcome. I really want you to stop and think about this. What does that mean when you see that kind of stuff? Is that going to make sure that it's going to be super easy? Do you see any career that has that same sort of order, have the same sort of easiness? Would you say that somebody that is in the NFL or NHL, would you say that they have it very easy? Would you say that a CEO of a large multinational corporation, that they're not working hard? I want you just to stop and think about all of this kind of stuff, right? I also want you to stop and think about, what is it, the expectation that we have to do? There's three things that we really have to do. We have to do service, we have to do, which is just admin work, right? Just administration work, setting up meetings, all of that kind of stuff, talking to students, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to take about 10 hours of your week, often for that. Then on top of it, we should be reading probably about 2 or 3 papers a day. Now, it's hard to do that. Many of us actually don't do that because it's actually impossible to do that. So in my field, that means reading about 60 to 90 pages a day of dense work, right? Like actual dense work. Then on top of that, my expectation is that I'm going to be writing anywhere on the very low end, extremely low end, 5 pages a day, but my target is between like 9 and 15 pages a day of work. Then on top of that, I'm expected to analyze data and understand how to analyze data. And then, with that, I'm expected to do a couple hours a day of analyzing data, looking at what I'm supposed to be doing, or maybe going and doing field work, whatever that field work might be. So if you add all of that stuff up, I want you to sort of question whether you think that's easy. Some people might say that that's just really easy and it's super easy. If you thought high school was very easy to focus in, you were the top in your grade, and it was just like super easy, right? Like everything just came to you and everything was just like, this is no problem. Then yeah, it's easy. If you like the rest of us, maybe you have a different thought. So I just want you to sort of think through all of the logic when you're going through this. Is a PhD going to be easy? A PhD degree going to be easy? And then on top of it, it's not just the work, right? There's a whole bunch, just like everywhere else though. There's politics. There's a tremendous amount of social comparison where everybody is sort of comparing each other and saying how big their fishing rods are, or how big the fish they caught, or all of these kind of stories and comparing to each other. And on top of that, we have, just a tremendous amount of demands from many different directions where people are looking at you and comparing with you. And, students might not necessarily like what you're doing in terms of what you're grading and all of those kind of things. Administration might not necessarily like what you're doing because of, what's going on, some sort of thing. So I want you to sort of think about, is that going to be easy? All of these things really do add up. And I want you to take a deep dive. And the last thing, I want you to, if you think it's going to be easier, you think it's really easy, I want you to do this. This is your test to think if it's easy. I want you to pick a project, some sort of project. And I want you to spend the next 3 to 4 months, just try this, even 2 weeks, 3 weeks, of writing 6 to 8 hours a day, or researching or reading on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, whatever the topic you want to do. Tell me if that's going to be easy, or tell me if you actually can do that. I want you to add up all of that kind of stuff, and then start thinking about whether this is easy and whether you can actually do this. Now, I want you to remember, you need to look at the actual facts, and you actually need to look at the normative environment before you start making these decisions about what's going to happen and what you're going to do. So before you start saying this degree is easy and it's going to be like super simple, hey, I want you just to look. That's it. Start thinking about this stuff. The other thing I want you to do is just try it. Try it for a couple of weekends. See what happens. See how you like it. Everybody can do research. It's not that hard to do. You just simply start doing it. And you could do it on your weekends. So I want you to sort of question and think about these kind of things, because it's ultimately, I just really want people to realize what it's like coming in. And I want you to stop and think about all of these kind of things. So if you think that social comparison and all that kind of stuff that you would have had, in high school or college, if you're the top in your grades and you're talking about your grades and stuff, you think that's going to go away once you get into a PhD program, I really want you to stop and think about that and what that actually means. And then on top of it, everybody sees everything. It's not that your grades and stuff are hidden and nobody can talk about it. Everybody knows what's going on. So I just want you to stop and think about all of these kind of things before you actually choose to either go in the degree, or you say, hey, what they have is super, super easy. It's like when I hear people talk about, somebody that's a professional athlete, or I hear people talk about, CEOs, their life is so easy, all that kind of stuff. I want you just to stop and think about it, what it actually means. Would you actually be able to get there if you actually started trying and dedicating yourself to it? And if the answer is yes, if you believe that you can do it, but it's not only if you believe you can do it, I want you to sort of show that you can do it for 3 to 4 weeks of your own time. And if you could do that, then maybe it's easier than what I'm saying. If you can't, if you don't even last 1 weekend of trying to write something for 4 or 5 hours a day, good luck. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.